All right, everyone. Welcome to the introduction to TCP IP networking section. I'm going to talk about briefly what you're going to encounter in this particular section. All right. As you can see, there's a lot of abstract information. All right. It's a lot of abstract information, and Cisco really wants you to understand the TCP IP model. So one of the first things that we're going to talk about, and I'll also show it to you in the packet tracer, via the lab. Not a lab actually that you need to do, but just you can look at. Perspectives on networking. So we need to understand, the home, right? The small office, home office. That term is coming back. And then the enterprise, of course, the differences in there. The TCP IP networking model. Now you're going to see, there's now a new one. There's a new one. Instead of having 4 layers, it has 5 layers. So we're going to get into the history. Now, don't be scared, okay? I do not believe, I'll show you a nice little website you can go to and you can look at the history of the entire internet. Okay, so we'll look at that and you'll have the link and all that information. But I doubt it that in your certification, they're going to ask you who was the maker of TCP IP and then what exact year TCP came out and all that good stuff. I don't think that's going to happen, but we'll look at it. We'll look at a little history. Just as interesting. We won't spend too much time on it, but we'll look at it. Then an overview of TCP IP networking model. There you'll take a look at the actual networking model and the new model, right? And we'll do comparisons with the OSI model because it still hasn't gone away. It's still there. Even though they say it's not really being used as much. They want to gear more towards the new TCP IP or DoD model, all right, which they're not calling it that, but the new TCP IP model, which you'll look at. But that's what they want to gear to, but we still compare it to the OSI. And then we'll take a look at the application layer specifically in the HTTP, an overview of how you get web pages onto your particular PC and the protocol mechanism. What does the protocol actually does, all right? And then we'll get into the transport layer and the network layer. We'll see what happens there. We'll see why TCP has error recovery. It's built in. That's why they call it the reliable transport protocol. Excuse me, went blank there for a second. And then there's new terminology, which is called same layer and adjacent layer interaction. And really, they're just explaining what's going on there with the error detection, the 3-way handshake that it happens. But we'll break that down, not a big deal. Then the network layer, obviously, they're making an analogy. Now, if you get the CSEN book from Cisco, the Cisco Press book, they're just, that postal service thing, it's just an analogy, and that's the analogy that everybody has used for centuries, okay, on how these models work. They make it hey, just like you write a letter. That's what they're saying there, okay? But when we get in a section, we'll get into it very little. And then internet protocol addressing basics and IP routing basics. Obviously, if it's IP version 4, which it is, so we know what we're going to be talking about, ARP, and how it gets from one point to the next, and how routers get involved, and how the frame gets across, and all that stuff, okay? So this is what we're going to be covering. This is a little short section. All right, we'll take it a step at a time as we go through the course so you can feel comfortable with the information, all right? So I'll see you inside the first lecture.